All right, folks, I'm going to demonstrate my first task. So last time, I have created all the text-based interactive story. It saves states, and I have to do 3 tasks, and we're done, and we have imposters. Now I'm going to start adding visuals, and I chose to do shields first. And if you remember shields from the game, it's like this hex thing. You got to click the red and the white spots. Here's what it works like. So I choose to go to shields, and it pops up. And I've done it, so you just got to click, 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 task complete, task complete. It should move on and loop again. I'm not sure why it's not. I'll have to fix that. But I'll show you how I coded this. Just wanted to give you the preview. So let's work this one thing at a time. But before we do that, there's a fundraiser tomorrow at John Smith Subs. And I expect to see you all there. If you're one of my students or you're in Palmdale, you should show up and buy stuff. You know, John Smith Subs, if you're not one of my students, I don't know where you are, but this is the best sub place you can go to. There's one in California. The next closest one is Vegas, and the next one's like Idaho. But there's a bunch in Florida. So if you're in Florida right now, look around you. There's like as almost as many of those as there's like Starbucks or In-N-Outs if you're in California. It says ubiquitous. So please go there. There's specials going on. You got the daily special for $7.95. You got the meals. You got this buy 2, get 1 free. Show up. All right, back to work. So I'm going to build that from scratch, but I'm going to tell you how I started it. So first, like, if I took the full code, okay. Oh, let's not do that one. If we took the full thing, I don't want to show everything in here. It's kind of hard. Like, how do I want to organize it when I have all these tasks and stuff going on? So, like, do I want to put it in one big main file? But the main file is starting to look really clunky. There's a lot of stuff in here. So I'm going to make a tasks file, all right? So that's how I'm sorting this right here. So, but I want to test this out. I'm testing it out in like a separate environment, and then I'll drag it over later because it's hard to like develop in there. No one mess the code. So we're going to make it right here, shields. So the first thing, I got to use turtles, right? You got to use turtles to do shields. So what I copy over the first is I'm going to make sure I'm going to be importing turtle as turtle, right? And I'm going to have to do that main loop thing, right? The wn whatever. So actually, we're not going to do that yet. I'm going to be importing turtle. And I want to define a function. So I'm going to call it priming shields, right? You can do this and like do everything inside of this function. That's how I ended up doing this. So I'm going to define a function that can be called in my main text later because you got to make it a function. We don't want to run right away. So, all right, inside of that function, you have to do that wn turtle screen thing, right? So I'm going to define this at the start. The reason I do it at the start because I'm going to change background pics later. I know in like some code we did these both at the end, and then you have like the main loop part that happens at the end. So I'm just going to put it at the bottom. This is what we usually start out with doing turtles, right? So the first thing I think about when I'm drawing those pictures, so if you want to look up what's it called, Among Us, Prime Shield, Scaled, pick some images of this. You know, it's kind of like this hex shape, and then like you click the red ones and they go away. So my plan for doing this was I wanted the red ones just to be turtles that you click, they hide the turtle. And I figured that's the best way to simulate this. Now, one issue I had was like, I can't make the turtles, like there's no like default hex shape. There's like circles and squares and stuff. And I could have made these hexes as like imported a picture and then just stamps and stuff. But I'm like, or make that the turtle shape. But I kind of got lazy. I was like, let's just make them circles. So I wanted a blank one. And then I'll have like red circles on top you click because close enough for this game. So that's my choice. So my first thing is I gotta import. I do my photoshopping skills. I wanted to have a blank one of these. So one of these was where it's all white. And then I also chose I wanted to have a task completed, and I found this one online. So that works for me. But check out, I had to do a little photoshopping skills, and I'll show you what I came up with. I came up with shields complete here, and I made a shields right here, and I had to chop 2 things apart. When you're doing these, and make sure you have to do them as a GIF, and I resized them to fit. All right. But you got to make these, make it a GIF, whatever. And so after I do that, I can actually upload these as a background pic. So now that I have WN defined right here, I can change this background pic. We're going to call it shields, WTF. We're going to upload some files here. Oop, you get to see desktop is exposed right here. That's okay. I don't care. I'm going to put them both in here. So now when I run this right now to test it out, it should change my background pic to this thing. Of course it's going to. Oh, I'm missing something. I probably because I don't do anything. So it'll work later. So shields.gif. This will all end up. Oh, because you have to actually, when you're testing out, you have to actually call that prime shields function like this. If you're doing it this way, just put that prime shields at the end. This defines it, and then this will call it. There we go. I got my background in. Good enough. Resize it to make it work. I had to resize. There's probably a better way to do it, but I was lazy. Now, I want to make those circles to be 3 different turtles. So here's the code I figured out for a turtle. So you got to I'm going to paste this in here. I defined it. I'm calling it hex 1. I said hex 1, hex 2, hex 3. And then I'm just making it a circle. Oh, I wanted to figure out the size of the turtle because I knew that I would be doing, I had to tweak it a few times. I just made a variable called hex size. And that's just the size of the turtle. I was resizing the circle to make it work out. Changed it to red, do a pen up because I don't want to see the movement. And then I went to that location. So I was kind of, I played around with it just to see they're close enough to the spot. So I'm going to say it's that spot. You could probably randomize these. And that'd be neat to all 7 locations. But I'm not going to bother with this. So I did it for both. And I'm going to copy and paste this text. Now, one thing you notice, there's that movement at the start. We see the circles, the dots running to the corners. I know there was something where you could update, you pause the thing and update it because we learned it with the Apple game. But I didn't want to figure it out. I was getting tired. But I could optimize it this way. I could make these into hexagons, but whatever. Close enough. I'm just going to leave it like that. So those are my 3. I figured out the spots to go to. Done. Now, I have to make a function. If you remember how onclick works, how do you define it? And I went through my list of commands because I forgot. Now, so I had to create, and I created some onclick functions for each of these. And remember, each one has to have its own onclick. So it's the name of the turtle, dot onclick, and then the function you're calling. Now, here is what the function looks like. So here's an example of one of the functions. One thing I forgot, I don't care about the XY coordinate. I just want it, as soon as you click it, to hide it. So I made it like this, and it wasn't working. And I was like, why is this not working? There's no error messages. It didn't have error messages before. I forgot. You have to have 2 parameters when you define the function. For any function you use for onclick, it wants you to have 2 parameters for the X and Y coordinates of your click. Even if you don't use them, you still need that. And it won't give you an error message. That's Python for you. So I was frustrated. So I put this note in here saying, hey, hopefully I don't forget that next time. Wow, that was kind of annoying. So I figured that out. You have to do X, comma, Y, whatever. I don't use them. I don't care. So one thing, when you're inside, I did this last video, when you're inside a function, but you want to use one of these variables like hex size that's outside right here, you have to call it a non-local. All right. Oh, and I said hexes left. So I named a variable called how many hexes I have to. I'm thinking, how many are I got to keep track of how many I've clicked on already. Okay. So every time I click on one, I subtract 1 from this. Kind of like the tasks idea too. And then every time I click, it goes away. So every time you've clicked on it, like I click on hex 1, it's going to hide that turtle. It's going to remove 1 from hexes left. And then we're going to print click 1. This was just like a debugging thing. You don't have to have that. You can just take that out. It was just debugging before I had the hiding turtle. Wasn't working. And then that's it. Now it's going to call something called check task complete. So let me put those 2 other functions in too. You can see what it looks like. It look like this, identical. I'll just have it. The debugging is fine. Now I also wanted to say, hey, I want to have some kind of check for when it's complete. So we indicate we are done, right? So, ooh, and I can fix that because we had that issue where it wasn't stopping the task, right? Boy, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So check task complete. And now I pull in the hex is left again, and I say if the hex is left equal to 0, I'm going to print task complete, and I change that background picture to shields complete. And then that was it. Now, one problem I had with this is I want it to end. So when you check this, it changes the background, but I want that program to continue. So that's everything right there on how I made this work, right? And if I did this right now and I ran it, it should all work just as it appeared in the game before. You click, 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 lagging a little, task completed, done. And that works for just this game, right? So now I wanted to bring it all over. So I'm going to show you the code now. A few things. So what I had to do is I made this task.py. So I'm just going to put all my tasks in here. I'm imported turtle through here. And I made sure in your main function, I'm importing tasks. And I just copy and pasted all my stuff here. So it's right here. Okay, so how did I use this in the main function? When I make the shields, and it's over here, you call shields, you do imposter check. So before you say, you do the tasks check and you say you're emptying, I'm leaving that in. I don't want to change that. I'll have the text in there. That's fine. I wanted to actually do the task right here. So you can't get past here until you finish the task. So but I want to have happen here is I want it to do this and then end this function. So my issue is when I ran this, it didn't end the function. I thought it would just keep going on. So let's try this again. I think I turned off imposters. Say I want to go to shields. So it should pop up. Okay, it's being a little laggy, replity. That's fine. Click 1. It said task complete. I was expecting it to jump to the next thing, right? And it's just going to leave the screen up here, but it's not. And I think the reason it's not is because I'm not it's still stuck in this outer function. So after it checks this task complete, I want it to return. Like if this is complete, the function should return something. So, but how do I make the overall function, like the way you get out of function, you do return or it gets to the end. Because of this onclick thing, it never returns. So what if I make it return right here? Does that work? Well, my problem is I think it just returns from this function. I want it to exit prime shields. So if I do that, I don't think that's going to change it. I want to see if it works. I have an idea of what to do, and maybe you do as well. Want in chat say something? Okay, so I'm going to go shields again. Let's see if that worked. I'm going to click, click, click. Okay, still didn't work. So what I'm going to have it do, it's going to return true. I'm going to make it return a Boolean. Oh my gosh, why is it true? And oh, it's just trying to auto. True. I don't actually want you to type turtle, dude. And then else, I want to say return false. Capital L. So why is it? It's because I have this open somewhere else right here. That's bugging me. So here's the thing. This function is going to return true if you're done. It's going to return false. So whenever this does a check task complete, I'm going to make another check. How do I make another check? Oh. How do I? Ooh, hold on. Pause this video. Okay, so I wanted to keep checking task complete. I actually am not doing this return because I realized that this would just return false to these things. But they're only being checked in here. I don't know if there's how that true false returning works in here. I don't think that works right. So what I did instead is I'm having this infinite loop that keeps saying, hey, check if eggs are left. If there's No hexes left, just return. And this should quit the overall program. I think it should work. I don't know. It's just going to kill my program. Oh boy. I don't know if it likes this. I don't know if it likes this like infinite loop thing. Is it a problem with this? Or is it a problem with Python? No one ever knows. Problem with Replit. Seems like too much of a problem. So I'm actually going to call this. Oh, I didn't have it in there. I don't think this works. So if I do that, it cries. Yeah. So I thought I had this down. I still had problems. Still okay. That still works. So how does onclick work? Does onclick? So I'm gonna look that up.